Welcome to this explainer. Let's jump right in, shall we? Today, we're dusting off a classic, centuries-old tale from the bustling market streets of ancient India, and we're going to look at it through a totally different lens. We're turning what feels like a simple story about a lost item into a really fascinating high-stakes logic puzzle. You know, the best folktales out there aren't just your basic moral fables. They are literally masterful case studies in human psychology, legal strategy, and deductive reasoning. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how a legendary royal advisor used basic logic to trap a liar in his own web of deceit. Let's get started.
So, our story kicks off with incredibly high stakes. Just imagine the sheer panic of a wealthy merchant who reaches for his money only to realize he has just lost an absolute fortune. A bag containing exactly 900 gold coins is completely gone. Now, to put that into perspective for that era, 900 gold coins isn't just pocket change. We are talking about life-changing, generational wealth. It's the kind of money that buys entire estates or funds massive trade expeditions. The merchant is absolutely frantic, and this massive number, 900, is the foundation of the entire puzzle we're about to solve.
Section 1. The Lost Bag of Gold. This brings us to our inciting incident in a highly chaotic marketplace. The distressed merchant happens to cross paths with the famously clever Tenali Rama, a royal advisor who is just legendary for his razor-sharp wit. With the whole crowd watching, the clock is ticking to recover this massive sum of money before someone else claims it for good.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, right? To recover his life savings, the merchant decides to use a classic economic incentive. He publicly announces a very generous reward of 100 gold coins to whoever finds and returns his bag. Think about the math here for a second. He's willing to sacrifice over 10% of his total wealth just to ensure the safe return of the rest. It's actually a pretty smart, calculated move. A 100-coin reward is definitely enough to tempt even a dishonest person to do the right thing, simply because it's a guaranteed, risk-free payday without the constant fear of getting caught stealing.
Initially, this whole incentive system seems to work perfectly. Step 1, a poor but incredibly honest farmer stumbles upon the bag of gold. Step 2, without even a second thought about keeping the fortune for himself, he brings it directly back to the rightful owner. It's a really beautiful moment of civic duty. The farmer, who has probably never seen a fraction of this kind of wealth in his entire life, completely ignores the temptation of the 900 coins, totally anticipating that promised 100-coin reward. The transaction should be super simple, right?
Section 2. The merchant's greed and deception. Well, here is where human psychology takes a pretty dark turn. The exact moment the merchant has his money safely back, all that relief is instantly replaced by greed. He feels the weight of the gold, and suddenly, parting with 100 coins feels like a massive loss rather than a rescue fee. This brilliantly illustrates the dark art of gaslighting. Instead of just paying up, the merchant goes straight on the offensive, hurling a deceitful accusation at the terrified farmer. He says, "The bag originally had 1,000 coins. Now it only has 900. You stole 100. It's a vicious, calculated lie. By accusing him of theft, the merchant not only invalidates the farmer's claim to the reward, but he puts a totally defenseless man in danger of severe punishment. Classic case of the powerful exploiting the powerless.
Section 3. Justice in the King's Court. Naturally, the poor farmer fiercely defends his innocence. Unable to resolve this squabble in the streets, they escalate the whole matter to King Krishnadevaraya. The king is now looking at a classic he said scenario. So what unfolds next is just a brilliant legal strategy. The king assigns the case to his most trusted advisor, Tenali Rama. Now, Tenali doesn't interrogate the farmer or go searching for the quote-unquote stolen 100 coins. Nope. Instead, he asks the merchant one simple, highly direct question. Are you absolutely certain that your bag contained exactly 1,000 coins? And the arrogant merchant confidently answers, yes, absolutely. Boom. Without even realizing it, he has just locked himself into a legal trap. Okay, before we reveal the final verdict, I really want you to pause and ask yourself, if you are on the jury looking at this mathematical dispute, how would you solve it using only the testimony provided? You've got a physical bag with 900 coins in it. You have a farmer who says he didn't take a single thing. And you have a merchant who has just sworn under oath, right in front of the king, that his missing bag had exactly 1,000 coins. How do you prove who is lying without any external witnesses?
Section 4. Tenali Rama's clever decision. With the merchant firmly trapped by his own sworn testimony, Tenali prepares to deliver a logically airtight verdict.
He doesn't rely on character witnesses or guesswork. Tenali Rama publicly opens the bag in front of the entire court and points out a fatal flaw. The merchant's strict legal claim is that his lost bag contained exactly 1,000 coins, but the physical undisputed evidence sitting right there in the courtroom is a bag of exactly 900 coins. Mathematically speaking, these two truths absolutely cannot coexist if we're talking about the exact same object. The merchant's sworn claim directly contradicts the physical reality of the bag he is desperately trying to claim.
And then comes the absolute mic drop moment. Tenali looks at the merchant and delivers this totally devastating conclusion. He says, "If your bag truly had 1,000 coins, then this bag cannot possibly belong to you. It only has 900 coins. Therefore, this bag must belong to someone else entirely." It is a masterpiece of deductive reasoning. Tenali takes the merchant's lie and simply agrees with it. He's like, "Okay, you lost a bag of 1,000 coins, we'll keep looking for it. But this bag of 900 coins? Well, by your own admission, it isn't yours." The logic is completely inescapable. The ruling strips the greedy merchant of absolutely everything. Immediately, the bag of 900 coins is confiscated by the royal treasury. And as for the future, Tenali rules that if the quote-unquote true owner of this 900 coin bag isn't found after a certain period of time, the entire fortune will be legally given over to the honest farmer. The merchant's attempt to save 100 coins just cost him his entire fortune.
Section 5. The main lesson of the story. As you can imagine, the color completely drains from the merchant's face. Realizing he's been totally outsmarted by his own lie, he breaks down, confesses his deception, and gets a massive scolding from the king. Which brings us to the core takeaway of our explainer today. Honesty is respected, while greed ultimately embarrasses and ruins a person. The merchant had a perfect system going. He lost his money, a genuinely good person found it, and a small reward would have made everyone whole. But by trying to cheat the system just to get a 100% return, he ended up with absolute zero. As we wrap up this analysis, this timeless moral leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought to consider. How often does attempting to cheat the system in our own lives, just to squeeze out a tiny bit of extra advantage, end up costing us absolutely everything? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.